Hi everyone, it's Heather again. Tonight I'm going to do the cross stitch tag. Stitching May tagged me about a month ago, and I've been sick and then my kids were sick, so I'm just now getting around to it. It's going to be a little lengthy because there are quite a few questions, so let's get to it. Number one, how did you start or who introduced you to cross stitch? No specific person introduced me to cross stitch. My family was going on a summer trip vacation, and it was to a cabin near a lake, and there was no television, and I wanted to bring something that would help me stay occupied. So I looked through the craft section of Walmart and found the little the dimensions kits, the tiny ones, and that's how I started. I think I brought along 2 of them for that summer. Number 2, do you have a favorite theme or designer? I don't have a favorite designer, only because I feel like I'm still fairly new to cross stitch. I do see myself leaning more towards like lettering and like sayings. I do like fairy tales, and I like trees, but not realistic trees, more whimsical type trees. I do know that I don't like your traditional samplers. There's just something about them that I don't like. I like more modern type things. And I would rather have something that has full stitches than partial stitches. I'm okay with half stitches, but I don't want to do quarters and 3/4. Number 3, what floss brand do you use? I use DMC, mainly because it is the most convenient. I can pick it up anywhere when I'm out. I can get it at Walmart, Joann's, Michael's, Hobby Lobby. My little needle shop is clear on the other side of the city, so I'm not over there as often as I would like. Otherwise, I probably would be trying out a few more. I have used Krennic once, and I'm currently working on something that involves variegated, they're by Crescent Colors. And I do like using that. I would rather stitch a line and then come back, versus with variegated, you stitch 1x at a time. It's very time consuming. I like to get it over with and get it done. Number 4, what is your fabric of choice? I prefer even weave. 30 to 28 count is the best for me. And I mainly buy it like this. Like I said, my needle shop is on the other side of the city, so I can't get to it as often as I would like. Otherwise, I would be buying from there. But I can get this at Joann's, and that's not too far from me. I am currently stitching on a lamb's wool, and it's not that I don't like it. I've had to do some ripping out of stitches, and it seems like that kind of made the fabric a little more delicate. Sorry, my dogs. And they made it a little more delicate, so I'm not liking having to stitch over where I have previously ripped out. Ada's, since I've worked with an even weave, and I like the even weave better, I'm not liking the Ada as much. It seems too stiff for me, and I enjoy stitching over 2. That's why I like using even weave. Go ahead. Number 5, do you use a needle threader or are you a floss flicker? Neither. I do the method where you wrap the thread over the eye of the needle. So you would wrap it over the eye of the needle, you pinch it tight, and then like slide the needle off, and then slide that pinched part through the eye of the needle. That's how I thread my needles. Now, on occasion, I will use a needle threader because I like to stitch until I'm at like that last little bit, and when I go to slide it through the back of my work, if it somehow slips out, I'll slide the needle through the back, use the needle threader to get the thread back through the eye of the needle, and then slide it through. So that's about the only time I use a needle threader. I don't ever lick, just mainly because I don't feel as though I need to. Number 6, what kind of stitching frame do you use? I use both the plastic hoops and the snaps. I haven't gotten a chance to use a scroll yet. I don't really think I have anything that big enough that I really need a scroll, but I have a 10, 8, and 6 inch hoop, and then I have, when it comes to the snaps, I have generic 11 by 11 and 17 by 17, and then I mix them, so that gives me two 11 by 17s, and then I have the actual Q snap 11 by 17. Now when it comes to the two, I don't notice a difference. I think that may be because when I put my fabric into my snap, here I can, oh, maybe right here, I kind of like double over the fabric under the clamp. So then my work doesn't loosen up as much. I mean, this one's been in there for a while and it's still drum tight, and that's even with this side loose. So, you know, they do look different, they do assemble different. I think the generic one may be a little bit heavier, but other than that, I like them equally, and I keep finding myself going back to the hoops. Number 7, how many projects have you finished? I actually had to write this down and kind of figure out what I have finished. I've only been stitching since last August. Like, okay, I learned when I was 12, but I seriously got into it since this past August. Since August, I have completed 6. When I first got into it, I think I had only completed 2, so that gives it a total of 8. Number 8, how many completed works do you have displayed in your home? I have absolutely none. I do have one that is finished and framed. It's an Eagle Globe and Anchor. My husband was in the Marine Corps, so I have it. It's matted. I have where the Eagle Globe and Anchor goes, and then a picture is supposed to go next to it. I have not yet found a picture that I like of my husband when he was in that we can print and place there, and then once I do that, then we will hang it in with all of his other Marine Corps memorabilia. Number 9, do you do more stitching for gifts or keep them for yourself? I have done more for gifts, mainly since I started in August. I did Christmas gifts, and now my current works in progress, I have 5. So 4 of those 5 I'm stitching to be made for myself or to be displayed in my home. So I have one for my son. I may be hanging one up in my other son's room. So they are made to be hung in my home. Number 10, what is your favorite project or finish you are proud of? That would be a panda that I did for my mother for Christmas, only because it has a lot of firsts for me. It was the first purchase I made from a little needlework shop. It was the first purchase that was not a kit, that I had to buy everything separately. It was the first one to be stitched on anything other than Ada. It was the first one to be stitched over 2, and I believe that was it. So there was a lot of firsts for that one. Oh, it was the first one I framed, like full-on framed, and I framed it myself. What has been your least favorite or worst experience cross-stitching? Other than countless times I've had to pull out stitches, that would be spilling candle wax on my Once Upon a Time sampler. I have like a wax warmer, and as I was turning it off, my stitching was sitting next to it. I knocked the warmer, the wax came onto it. I have washed a lot of the wax out, and I don't know if you can see, but it is a little stained. There's a little color stain. So I'm hoping that once, I think that's November's block, once we get to November, that the stitching will fill the block pretty well and you're not even going to notice the staining. Number 12, what do you love about cross stitching? Well, first, it's the first craft that I have been able to do and do well. I have tried paper crafting. To me, it just doesn't come out as well as I would like it. I like doing things with my hands, but I don't bake well, I don't cook well. I can't build things. If you give me a chart and, you know, a piece of fabric, I can make X's and count. I mean, it's as simple as that. And I like that I can multitask. So I can carry on a conversation while I'm stitching. I can still look after my kids while I'm stitching and help with homework. I like that I watch TV. I mainly watch Netflix, old episodes of something. I'll start something from the beginning, watch it all the way through. I do want to get into listening to audiobooks because I've never been a big reader, but I would like to try that instead, see how well I would do listening. Number 13, have you introduced anyone else to cross stitch? Cross stitch. Yes, I have my friend Jackie. She is a stay-at-home mom like me, and she has 2 small boys. And one day she was over and she saw my stitching. She fell in love with it. We met up one day. I showed her some techniques. She went out and bought a kit. It was just a little dimensions kit. She was like, you know what, I've had enough of this. And she went and actually bought a larger pattern off of Etsy. And it's a really pretty peacock motif. And she's doing very well with it. And I'm very happy that I have a friend that stitches here. Number 14, what was your first project and did you finish it? If not, what was your first finish? Like I said before, it was a small dimensions kit. I think it was like a frog or a bear, or it was some type of cutesy little animal, I think. But I do know that I finished one of those kits, and it was like a Mother's Day gift, or it had something along the lines of mom and I think flowers and a wreath or something. It was just really little, and it's probably gotten lost over time. I wish I did still have it, just so, you know, I had something to compare to what I'm doing now to then. Number 15, how do you store your floss? Okay, so I store everything by project. Let me fill this up really quick. So I have this cute little box that I got for Christmas. So it's like this, and inside it holds 4 full trays. And in each tray, I can specialize my dividers. So I have my DMC floss on bobbins, and then each one of my trays will have like a, not all of them have a seam ripper, but they all have a pair of scissors, a needle threader, a pen to mark the chart, needles. I always make sure that I have an extra spot for my snips, and then I leave this open spot for either the chart to fit in, my working chart, or I put the working chart over here, and then I fold the fabric. This is very sloppy, and it sits in here, and then I close it. This is good for, like my son was in the hospital, so my husband was able to just go grab a box, grab a frame or a hoop, and I had 2 projects in the hospital and I worked on them. Very easy. Or I can just grab a box, throw it in my purse, and there you go. So that was it. I hope you enjoyed this cross stitch tag. If you are watching and you have not done the cross stitch tag, you're it. Thanks for watching. Bye.